person really, ladies and gentlemen, that we know after the legendary KV Kamath, who's converting an infrastructure institution to a universal bank, IDFC First Bank. In the process of this conversion, IDFC is launching many programs, and one of such key themes is senior citizens. I would also like to share a small story before we, of course, introduce the special guest to you all. One foreign resident senior citizen, in fact, reached V. Vaidyanathan sir and sought assistance for finding retirement home in India. While assisting, the person found the search process extremely fragmented and all over the place. He then asked us at Outlook to create a ready-to-use directory for searching retirement homes to make the search easier for all. Such is the passion as far as the subject is concerned of senior citizens that actually makes our next guest extremely best placed to talk about the subject of senior citizens. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming V. Vaidyanathan, MD and CEO at IDFC First Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to officially now see is the launch of the Directory of Assisted Living, Senior Care and Old Age Homes in India.
Hello, everyone. First of all, very happy to see Outlook Money carry this very important initiative forward. And I also thank all the participants and delegates of today's meeting, because this is really an important issue for all of us, as you will see. But first, let me start with this very small story. This wonderful gentleman, Piyush Pandey, passed away recently, but I with him, some years ago. And about his family, and I asked him about his dad. He said his dad retired. I asked him how his life is after retirement and how his was. So he said that, he told me a story. Piyush Pandey tells a story for everything, and he's such a phenomenal storyteller. So he said, look, my dad was in the garden, and he asked me for spectacles that he had left somewhere inside the house. And he said, I took some time, maybe a few minutes and a couple of minutes, and I reached out to him and gave it to him. He said that, aane bhi deri kyun kar di? So he says that, normal, like itna time lagta hai. He says, no, because मैं retire हो गया. मतलब, you don't take me seriously anymore. So Piyush says, yeah, Vaidya, I took the same amount of time as I would normally take. But unke life mein, he felt it. So this is already a psychological feeling oftentimes in people who probably have retired. But along with this, it is the same thing. You sit in a like this in a dentist's place and get tooth issue resorted. It may be a 10-minute affair, but it may feel like 30 minutes to you. So to couple this issue up, if financially is an issue, then it's a double issue. And thirdly, if it becomes an issue for lower income segment who have not saved enough in life and don't have enough investments, it's I can't even call it double whammy, probably I'll have to call it triple whammy. So let me show you some segments of India which are, kind of affected. So there are these segments in the country which are basically, your hawkers, vegetable sellers, auto rickshaw drivers, etc. And then you can see lots of the fruit sellers, tea, pawn shop, chaat vendors, etc. You see all of these people across your life all the time. Maybe you don't think so much about it in your day-to-day life because you just consume services from them and you move on. But the fact is that they all matter, and they are just so many of them. Let me just share with you what those numbers are, and then you'll get a color from that. Basically, India has roughly about, say, 520 million, that is, working class people. And then think of it that the informal, segment employment is something like about 420 million. And then you have the formal informed segment of about 100 million. So now of this 420 million, you have, maybe the the informal segment, close to about 180 million are probably the salaried, and about 240 million are probably the self-employed, the kind of profiles I showed you on the screen. Of this 240 million, close to about 120 million fall in the mid-income self-employed, maybe a little less, and about 120 to 150 million is the low income self-employed. So for this segment, I'm just describing schemes to you. They, as you know, they have low and unsteady income, no PPF, no pension, and so on. So these people, I did some little bit of extra study for this so that, we could educate the public about this. They have the hardest life. They have the hardest life while they are working, and they have hardly anything to save for themselves at the end of their, period, and they really maybe depend on their children or something, or probably they just have a hard life, very, very hard life. And one scheme here is that they can contribute 80 rupees a month, 80 rupees a month, and they can get a pension of 3,000 rupees. This is enabled, it may sound like magic, but more because the government is also contributing 80 rupees to it. And then, of course, the power of compounding is going on here. So this is a very powerful scheme, which I talked to you about, like the 400 million, 420 million informal segment employees or institutions should have. And if the entry age is 40, they can pay 400 rupees a month, 200 rupees a month, and they can still get the same benefit of 3,000 rupees. But this is serious education awareness is required for this. The next sort of retirement scheme for low income segment is the Atal Pension Yojana, in which case it becomes that they can contribute, say, about 376 rupees per month, and then they can get 5,000 rupees per month. I agree, 5,000 rupees is not a big amount. It's not at all. In today's world, is going to be maybe barely get by, but at least it just gives some life of dignity than really, you know, uh, completely being stranded. So the other segment, which is a slightly higher income segment than these is probably earning, say, 30, 40,000 rupees per month, or probably in that zone, maybe a bit lesser. Now, there could be chemist, medical store, hardware shop operator, etc. You get the drift of the kind of profile we're talking about. Here, they have a bit of erratic seasonal income. And for them, this the national pension scheme, etc., will come in very handy. But then if they contribute, 10,000 rupees per month for 30 years, and, they could be sitting on maybe 2.26 crore. But, I mean, in this profile, they probably can. And then you see this program on, equity mutual fund. If this person had invested 10,000 rupees per month, I just need to remember these numbers, it's important. 10,000 rupees per month for that period, they could be sitting on 3.4 crores. Just think about it. 10,000 rupees per month, you could be, I'm assumed of 12% market return on the equity markets. So, you could be sitting on 3.4 crore or 3.5 crore. So this can give you some, you get a reasonable life post age of 60 or 65, depending. So these are very important numbers to remember, that just 10,000 rupees per month discipline can take you in this zone. And therefore can give people and then I don't really bother about these well-off entrepreneurs, I think, because they are well taken care of in life. The salaried segment has a similar hierarchy of earnings. The self-employed segment has the same hierarchy of earnings. But really, this segment and this segment is something that you should really worry about, and they are the people who we should think hard about, and you get a similar story out here. Next thing requires tools. So we talked about, awareness. I really believe that awareness is very, very low. And see, there are three things here. One is awareness, one is affordability, and the third is discipline. As far as tools are concerned, I want to just share with you, IDFC has brought certain tools to the market. So this is the IDFC First app, because tools become very important for customers. So, because they don't know how much to invest to get what in life. This question is, because it's maths, people often miss it. So, IDFC has put this thing for customers here with payments, loans, credit cards, wealth management, etc. But you can see, third from bottom on the right hand side, we have this button for financial planning. So click on this financial planning. People can do planning of their wedding, child's education, retirement, vacation, home, car, etc. Now, you could plan many things in life, but for now, I'm just consuming here retirement. So I'm clicking on retirement here. Now, supposing, someone is to plan a retirement, and let me say this person wants to say retire. So let me say, or think that the person retire and say, let me say 2050 or something, and then say set the date. And this person, supposing, wants, let me make it up, say 5 crore rupees at that point of time. and then this person has to say proceed, and then then this system is telling you that we run the algo like this, and then we're telling you that you need to be investing 40,000 rupees a month to get 5 crore rupees at that point of time. Now, the and this 40,000 rupees, then at the choice of the customer, just to make it clear to you, at the choice of the customer can choose to say, I want to be maybe I want to have 80% equity, 20% debt, or in which case the bank will, select the funds for the customer based on these things, and the customer has to agree, by the way, by choice. And then we will deduct the customer's bank account for say 40,900 rupees and invest in say 5 funds which are selected on the basis of those norms. The customer can click on continue and make the investment. If the customer says, no, I want to be a balanced investor, then the system will run an algo and the funds change. You can see here. And then, the customer says, no, I want to be a conservative investor in which I want to have 20% equity and 80% debt. You do that. And then the funds change. You can see here the funds have changed already. So this is a very, very, very special service. IDFC has brought for customers. So these tools are very important for customers. How much should I invest to get 5 crore rupees, say 30 years from now, 25 years from now? Where should I invest them? There's a complete integrated solution and tools provided to customers. This is very important. What IDFC has done at the background is super important. What it has done is it has gone to every single mutual fund of the country, has gone and identified what are the companies inside that fund, and then gone to public research and found out what is the 1 year forward view of those underlying companies. We have indexed it back into the mutual fund. Then we have estimated what that particular mutual fund scheme will be worth 1 year from now, going by public research. We don't claim that it's our individual company-wide research. It is the public research. Maybe the sell-side research by any of the well-known names, Morgan Stanley or Jefferies, or even Indian names, say Kotak or ICICI, anybody. So we do that. And then we index it back. And then we apply that to the funds, and then there's some algorithm that is going into the fund manager's track record and the scheme's track record. We combine all of that, and then we take a scientific approach about which fund is expected to do well in the long run, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, etc. And then we consume that, and then we index it in the fund, then we sort it, identify it, and feed you in this app, which the customer can then plan retirement with. So the point is, awareness is one thing, but to provide good tools for consumers to use it is super important. So at IDC First Bank, we really believe that these sophisticated, high-end today's technology tools are very important. And I believe that an individual can never do all this algorithmic work which an AI can do. This is all AI powered. So the AI work and individuals just cannot do, just not possible. So providing these tools is what IDFC is bringing to the consumers for being able to do the retirement planning. Similarly, of course, people can do other things. At least we all feel, just want to conclude by saying that the senior citizens who have done so much for us in a life as we were all growing up, I think most of us in India will probably belong to an income segment. All of us of our age group in the 50s, we all grew up in India, which is maybe very low per capita income, and probably lived their lives, relatively lower income. So senior citizens have done a lot for us, during that phase of our life. So whatever we can do in our respective institutions to support that and pay back in our own way is something that we should do. And these are some few things. For example, this they just described that I actually came across a senior citizen who relocating me overseas and said, please, Sundar, find me a place to stay. And I was hunting and hunting. It's just so hard. Could not find the right location, could not find the right price, could not find the right facilities that are being given there. What is it upfront to be paid? Is it rent? It's so complex. That is why I requested the Outlook to prepare that inventory. I'm really thankful to them that they have inventory. I'm feeling it giving me a lot of satisfaction that someone did something about this from Outlook money. And this inventory, of course, is a physical copy. It's not going to be of much use nowadays. It's not going to be. It doesn't give search facility, etc. But hopefully, the online version people can search the city, the location, the price band, and maybe go and inspect it online, maybe discuss online with the runners of the institution and so on. And very, very important, I must point out to you that the younger generation who are, earning, maybe they beginning to earn age of 25 or something like that and going to earn, they should really, really think about this, because the coming world of AI, nobody can be ever sure how this world economy is going to change, how the job market is going to change, who's going to keep jobs for 25 years or 30 years or 40 years. May not happen like that at all. There can be bet it's not going to happen like that. People are going to be, so you can never be sure, and these kind of situations can make a big difference. And in fact, I must really point out that the government is very seized of the issue, the regulator seized of the issue, and supporting such programs. I'm not sure Mr. Nagaraju from DF is there. I'd really love to hear him, because he's a champion of explaining these concepts from a social level, and really explaining to people that these are really important. I heard him speech at one of his speeches where he talked about pension as a big upcoming crisis of the country. Therefore, the corporate NPS, the investment choices within NPS, all of these are really powerful schemes. So let me just therefore thank every one of you for taking these concepts of awareness, of discipline, of affordability, of schemes, of tools, and together as a package of all of these 5 items put together, these 5 I mentioned, I think we can make some good headway. So thank you very much.